Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you so much for being here tonight. My name is Rob Peck. I am the director of the Center for Leadership, Government, and Global Economics here at Douglas Freeman High School. Our goal tonight is to give you a sense of what Freeman is like, what the center has to offer, what would be your high school education if you applied and chose to come to Douglas Freeman. We're going to hear from some students, and then you're going to have a chance. As you look at your program, you will see that there are about 10 classrooms around the building, and there will be people in the hall to guide you to those classrooms, where there will be students from each grade level talking about their experience, showing you some of the work that they've done while they've been students here, as well as rooms where you can ask about transportation, the application process, extracurriculars, just life at Freeman in general. You're going to come and go as you see fit. Whatever you're interested in, that's the room to go to. And once we are done with our opening presentation here, we will have about an hour for you to rotate around, and when you feel like you've heard enough, head on home and ask yourself questions about what it is you want to do in terms of applications. I will be in room 134 for the bulk of the evening to answer individual questions that you might have about the application process. Or centers in general throughout Henrico County. We're one of the final open houses of the season, and I know, especially if your family has not been through the application process before, how daunting it can seem. So I'm here to answer any of those questions, not just about Freeman, but about the center process in general. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for putting up with the COVID protocols that we're trying very hard to meet. Thank you to those people who are in other rooms around the building having this live streamed to them. We appreciate your flexibility in that regard. We're going to start our presentation this evening with a chance for you to hear from some of our students and their experience of what's going on. And our first speaker tonight is a 9th grader. She's in her first year here, and this is Abby Johnson. Please welcome Abby.
My name is Abby Johnson, and I'm a freshman in the Leadership Center here at Freeman. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to talk to you all tonight. I can't believe that 1 year ago I was in your shoes, learning about all the different specialty centers. I remember feeling nervous, but excited about what the future could hold. My primary reasons for wanting to come to the Leadership Center were wanting a challenging academic environment, a versatile program, and a place with a strong sense of community. In school, I've always worked hard to strive to be the best student I can be, and really wanted a school environment that would challenge me to do the same. I was naturally drawn to Freeman because its central goal is to develop amazing leaders for the next generation. Freeman is perfect for students who love to be resilient and work hard in their learning. They teach us the skills we need to have as successful leaders through interactive activities, group collaboration, and more. One of the most amazing things about the leadership program is really how versatile it is for any aspect of your life. The skills of public speaking, debate, leadership, and group collaboration are essential to have in any career, and that is what makes this program unique. For example, in our humanities class, we had to do a minute pitch, which was a 1-minute presentation on a topic we were passionate about, and this combined a lot of these leadership skills. I also love the natural community that forms here at Freeman. Because there are only 50 kids in the center, everyone gets to know each other really well through this special bond. For example, on some days, we will combine classes with all 50 kids together and work on fun group projects, such as a literary-themed jungle escape room. I also love how interconnected the students and faculty are at Freeman. The school spirit and community here are amazing, so I instantly started to feel at home when I came here. There are so many different clubs, sports, and fun activities to do at Freeman, so I'd really recommend plugging into one of those as a freshman. For example, I'm on the school gymnastics team and have made a lot of friends through that connection. I know this high school application process can be really stressful and scary, so some advice I would give to you is to know that there's really no wrong place for where to go to high school because they're all great options. Whether you end up at Freeman, your home school, or somewhere else, I know you will enjoy where you go to high school, but just try to trust the process and find the school that's right for you. But I know that if accepted, you'll love the Leadership Center as much as I do. Thank you for your time tonight, and I hope to see some of you all at Freeman next year.
Our next speaker this evening, hang on, Henry, I have nice things to say about you. Our next speaker this evening has impressed me already. I get to teach him this year for the first time. He is extraordinarily thoughtful. He has very frequently seen where a conversation is headed before not just his peers, but before I have as well. His ability to read difficult texts is frankly unmatched. But what's most interesting about him is that he's kind of cynical about it all. And I say that in the best possible way. He is skeptical, and that skepticism has allowed him to be a pretty extraordinary discussant in the classroom. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you Henry Haggard.
Well, thank you, Mr. Peck. Good evening, all of y'all. My name is Henry, and I'm a junior at the Freeman Leadership Center. Last time I was up here was for a 9th grade Romeo and Juliet performance. I was Juliet. But when I was sitting where you are now, I didn't like middle school. I didn't like school at all, actually. So, of course, I had my doubts about applying to the Freeman Leadership Center. In middle school, I never seemed to learn the things I was passionate about or understand why I was being taught something. I felt like I was floating down an academic river with no way to steer. My future felt out of my hands. So what did I do? All I felt I could do. I complained. I complained about how the school system was unfair, how it seemed to reward the people who checked the shiniest boxes and punish those who asked the hardest questions. And maybe I was right to complain then, but the Freeman Leadership Center taught me how to turn complaints into action. Wait a minute, I began to think to myself. Might I actually like school? Could it be? Our very first project in our ethics class was this. We were asked to get in groups and explain what was wrong with the American education system, and then propose a way to fix it. If that sounds daunting to you, I get it. The questions you'll be asked in the Freeman Leadership Center will be hard, and for many of them, not even your teachers will know the answers. But now it's a good time to remember what Nikola Tesla said about hard questions. Sometimes it's more important to think deeply than it is to think clearly. And thinking deeply might be hard given the way you've been taught to think. Putting your education in neat little compartments, English is English, science is science, history is history. But in the center, you'll learn to do away with these boxes. Everything we learn in each of our classes weaves together beautifully. We never learn in a vacuum. For example, if we're having a discussion in ethics, which we always are, we're able to tie back to any number of things we learned freshman or sophomore year. It feels good to do away with boxes because then a whole new world opens up to you. In Mr. Peck's class, we talked for an hour about the story behind a painting called The Raft of the Medusa. But our discussion wasn't just about a painting. It was about oceans, God, empire, hope. In that hour, The Raft of the Medusa became my new favorite painting, and a copy of it's now hanging up in my room. It's these experiences that make me appreciate learning for learning's sake, not for my GPA, not for my parents, sorry Mom and Dad, but for me. And let me tell you, the Leadership Center will always allow you to bring you into your learning. My passion is playing guitar, and throughout my time in the center, I've been able to write and perform 3 songs as school projects, and I plan on doing more. That's what makes the center so enjoyable for me, the freedom to be myself at all times. But I'm never myself alone. The center is where I finally found community. We all seem to understand each other, and yet we are also wonderfully different. We are the future journalists, park rangers, poets, rock stars, and yes, politicians and CEOs of the world, and you are too. So whoever you are, there's a place for you at Freeman, as long as you're willing to forge your own path, whether or not you know where that path will take you. So apply to Freeman. You might just end up liking school. Scratch that, you'll end up loving it.
For those of you who don't know it, The Raft of the Medusa is a painting of people who were at sea for 15 days, ready to die. And they're on their last legs and they've given up and there are dead bodies all around. So I think it tells you a lot about Henry that that's on his wall in his bedroom. I mean, it warms my heart, but still. Our next speaker I had the privilege of writing a letter of recommendation for this year as she applies to college. Some letters write themselves. A student just shines so brightly that you're pretty sure that the people reading the letter aren't going to take it seriously, and you have to work pretty hard to find things to say that aren't just glowing praise. Athena Kate, aka Canavos, is one of those students who truly makes every class better. And everything I'm about to say is a compliment, so take it the right way. She's not the single best student. She's not the clearest thinker. She's not the single smartest student, but she's the indispensable student. She is the one that makes every other person in the room think harder and want to do more. She is a leader without knowing she's being a leader. She's the sine qua non of our program. She's exactly who our students, we hope they will become. It's just such a pleasure every day to listen to her think, talk, react, be her beautiful, sunny self. So without any further ado, A.K. Canavos.
Thank you, Mr. Peck. Glad to hear that letter of recommendation went well. Good evening. My name is A.K. Canavos, and I'm a center here in the Leadership Center. I'm a senior. I'm not a center. I'm a senior. Tonight, I'd like to discuss with you a topic that has been highly prevalent in my center class, the penumbra of the Constitution. A penumbra is the cascade of light which forms around the flame of a candle. In the case of our Constitution, the document itself is the flame, and the penumbra is home to rights fitting of the document's spirit. The words on the document are our explicitly defined rights, but the ones in the penumbra are rights that are implied, ones that represent the essence of the Constitution. Just as the Constitution has a penumbra, I believe the Leadership Center does too. There are skills and values that, while maybe not explicitly mentioned in our curriculum, signify the essence of the Leadership Center. Inquisitiveness is one of those values that doesn't have its own class, though I'd be curious to see what that looks like, but is acquired through the buildup of each course and is significant to the purpose of this program, to mold each student into civil servants capable of questioning and bettering our communities. The ambiguity of our classes push us to ask more questions of ourselves, our peers, and in turn, the world around us. Currently, my AP Government class is working on research for We the People, a mock congressional hearing competition and a staple of the senior year center experience. One of my favorite parts of this project has been the tangents we find ourselves on in our preparation. There is always a question to be asked or challenging statements to be made, and believe me when I say we do. The atmosphere we fostered through our shared curiosity is what makes my center classes the highlight of my day. The second value of many that encapsulates the essence of this program is initiative. I find my interest in the things that I am studying has led me to a point where my academic engagement is not limited to the four walls of the classroom. This idea seems to culminate in the senior internship course. This past summer, I completed my internship with the Virginia League of Conservation Voters, which is a legislative advocacy nonprofit located here in Richmond. During my time there, we were focused greatly on the passing of more environmentally sustainable initiatives in the legislative packets working through the Virginia General Assembly and Congress. Though that was done on the advocacy side of VALCV, I also got to work on the educational side of the nonprofit, in which I organized a youth civic engagement night for teens and young adults in my district. Working with some of my colleagues here from school, we put on an educational night highlighting the significance of civic engagement, key principles to our government system, and ways in which we, as fast approaching voters, can create waves. This event seemed to be the culmination of everything my courses here seek to teach me. We can be leaders in our communities, but that is up to our own initiative. The penumbra of the center holds some of the values most crucial to our development into active citizens and leaders. My peers and I are more ambitious, inquisitive, civically active, and ultimately prepared to enter into higher education due to the analytical nature of this curriculum and its essence. Thank you.
Thank you, AK. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk very briefly. I'm going to talk very briefly about the center curriculum and what we have to offer. and then kind of give everybody their marching orders for the next 45 minutes or an hour or however long you need to be here to get your questions answered. So the first part of what we're going to do, just give you a sense of who we are. This is our mission statement. What AK just talked about, that's our mission. Our goal is to create principle-centered servant leaders. We want people who know what they believe, they know why they believe it, they can explain it to other people, and they can listen carefully and empathically along the way so that if they hear wisdom from the other side of the aisle, whichever side of the aisle that is, they can adjust their own thinking. People who want to go out into their community, whether they are politicians or attorneys or public servants or doctors or teachers or whatever career it is, the skills of leadership translate across that. We think one of the benefits of our program is that the skills that we have to offer, the kind of habits of thinking that we do, work regardless of the career field that you're pursuing. One of the questions I encourage you to ask of the students as you get to work your way around the building tonight, what is it they want to do? Why did they choose this place? If they're a STEM kid, why did they come here? If they're an engineering kid, why didn't they go to the engineering center? Listen carefully to their answers. What is it that they think they're getting here, and is it something that you feel strongly about? We hope that you will have all of those things that all three of our students who spoke tonight talked to you about. We want them to be critical and reflective people, thinking about the things that we do. We rarely give answers, we just give questions. It is a source of extraordinary, I see all of my students kind of nodding ruefully over here in the corner. I think it's a source of frustration for our students when they first get here. Why isn't there an answer? Why aren't you telling me what it is that I'm supposed to be typing down? And the answer to that is because I'm just going to ask you more questions. Because we want them to be thoughtful and persuasive in their own right. Not what it is that we think, but what is it that they think, and what evidence do they have for that. That's the goal. And if we have those communication skills and those thought skills, and we can go out into the world, that's what leadership looks like. Here's what the curriculum looks like. If you go to any specialty center, the center is part of your day. The comprehensive high school is also part of your day. Of the 7 classes that you take, 3 of them are in the center. All 3 of those classes each year are honors or advanced placement classes. You're going to take your history, your English, and an elective within the center. Outside of the center, you're going to take your math, science, world language, and other electives that you might be interested in. Those could be all honors and AP as well. They might not be. If you're a math genius, we have the math genius classes. If you are a math substantially less than genius, we also have those classes available to you, and you take the one that is appropriate to you. So in the 9th grade, World History and Geography from 1500, that's World History 2, you're going to take that wherever you go. The difference is that the things that you study in your leadership class, Foundations of Humanities and Leadership, is going to be coordinated with the English literature that you're taking, which is coordinated with the history that you're studying. It is that coordination where, as Henry talked about, you can see that not everything fits neatly into one box. In the 10th grade, you're going to take your first AP class, AP Human Geography, a study of how and why human culture has developed the way that it does, and what impact does that have on the way that the world works, economically, politically, socially. It is coordinated with a world literature course in the 10th grade, very broad-ranging curriculum. Wonderful 10th grade English teacher who does a great job. And then the leadership seminar that year is a seminar in sociology and psychology. In the 11th grade, you're going to take advanced placement United States history. You might never work that hard again in your life. It is an extraordinary amount of information to cover, but the teacher is fantastic. She does a great job. And then that's coupled with my favorite class to teach, Seminar in Ethics, Philosophy, and Law, a study of Western and Eastern philosophy from the pre-Socratics to the present. If you don't know what that means, don't worry, you will. Parents will know that that's one of those courses that you probably don't normally take until you're a sophomore or junior in college, and you'd be astonished at how well students do. We talked about Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics today. That puts nearly everyone to sleep, but they were wildly engaged. It was a great conversation. Between the junior and the senior year, students complete an internship. That's what AK was talking about. A chance to go out into the world and see if all of those things you've been learning in the center make sense. Do the theories make sense in the professional world? A lot of our students think they want to be attorneys, and so they go and they spend the summer with an attorney, and then they come back and they say, I do not want to be an attorney. They thought they were going to be in the courtroom arguing cases, and what they found is that it's a lot of very careful reading day after day after day, and that was not quite as exciting as they thought it was going to be. And that just saved them $160,000 in tuition. So, but we've had people do internships all over the world, nonprofits throughout Africa and Southeast Asia. We've had people work in hotels in Geneva and on an Alaskan fishing boat. At CBS in New York, we've had people at the Supreme Court of Virginia. Whatever it is you want to do, we're going to try and help you find a way to get that done to see if that's really what you're most interested in. Then in the senior year, you're going to take either AP Macro or AP Microeconomics. We alternate which we teach every other year, so that if you're really into economics, you can do that as an elective also during your junior year and get both of those courses. And then that's coupled with AP United States Government. It is a heady intellectual curriculum. It is an introduction to the liberal arts. One of our goals, not the first one, but one of them, is to make sure that the students are prepared to be headed off to the very best colleges and universities in the country. And if you're interested in the list of where they are, please feel free to go to our website and you'll see that it's a pretty impressive list. So, applications are available now. They've been available for about 3 weeks. You can either get it from our own website, the Leadership Center website, navigate to Freeman and you'll find us. You can also get it at the Henrico County Schools website, navigate to the Specialty Centers area and you'll see it. Those of you who are current HCPS students, you'll be filling out the application online. Moms and dads, there's a role for you to play in that in terms of signing some permissions. Those of you who are coming to us from a private school or a homeschool situation, you'll be filling out a paper application. You can download that PDF either at the Freeman website or the Henrico County website, and you'll be delivering that paper application directly to me. Those applications are due on January 10th. If you're doing a paper application, give yourself some extra time. If you're doing the online application, your school counselors are going to be your biggest resource for that, and you should ask them for all the help that you can. Take your time. The most important part of the application, however, this is the criteria that we use, is the video. We instituted this during the COVID lockdown over the last couple of years, a chance for students to introduce themselves to us. It has proved invaluable. Yes, we care about your grades. Yes, we care about your test scores. We want to see that you're a good student. Nevertheless, we are much more interested in what you bring to the table. A political discussion is deeply boring if the 50 people discussing it all think the same thing. It also isn't particularly enlightening. We need people who think different things, who represent different points of view, who come at politics from different sides of the aisle. It makes it much more vibrant. We want people who have a life experience that other people in the room do not. We like diversity, not for the sake of diversity, but because it makes the conversation much more interesting. What is it you bring? What quirky thing are you interested in? Don't try to guess what it is that we are looking for. What we're looking for is interesting people. Be yourself, talk to us about why you want to come to this center, not just centers in general, but why is it that this center is the one that best meets your needs. Everything that you write gets read by at least 2 people. Everything that you record and send to us as a video gets watched by at least 2 people, so that we have a variety of people looking at your application. We will inform you of your status in the 2nd week of March. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Somewhere between 350 and 400 people apply most years. We admit 50, we put 50 to 70 on a waiting list. We know that of those 50, you have applied to a variety of different centers, and so between 20 and 25 of the people who are admitted each year will come off of the waiting list. And so about 100 of you will get a positive or almost positive letter, and some others will get a good luck wherever you end up in high school, we're sure that you will do well letter. So it is competitive, but again, we're looking for a variety of different people, so take heart. Having a blemish on your academic record is not immediately disqualifying. Don't think that it is. We really are interested in you being a meaningful part of the Freeman community. We want you to be here as a Maverick and bring your own unique spin to everything that we talk about. We will notify you March the 11th, and then you'll have a couple of weeks. We also do shadowing during that time for students who have been admitted or placed on the waiting list, a chance for you to come and spend some of the day in the center classes and see if this is the kind of place that you think would be good for you. You're going to get a sense of that this evening. As you walk around tonight, this is one of the things that should suggest to you that this might be a good place for you to be. Each year we admit 50, 2 classes of 25. Of the 200-ish students who are enrolled in the center, I just put out an all call and I said, if you think you're available on the evening of December the 7th and you can be here from 6 o'clock to help fold some programs to 9 o'clock and answer some questions, I'd love it if you volunteered and filled out this form. 80 students filled out the form. Some of those came straight from their game, from practice, from whatever else it was that they were doing. They want to be here to tell you what it is about their experience that keeps them coming back for more. They're your best resource tonight. There are teachers in lots of the rooms. They're around. Talk to them as well. I will be, if you look at your program, you will see that in room 134, which is in the specialty center, I'll point those out to you here in just a second. I'll be there to answer any individual questions that you might have. But talk to the students. They will be discussing life at Freeman from the perspective of 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grader in whatever room I've put them in. There will be a 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade room for presentations as well, showing you the kind of work that they've done. And they'll just kind of be on a loop, and you poke your head in whenever you get a chance and listen, ask them about their work, ask questions, whatever it is that you want to know. If you want to know about transportation, I have put people in the transportation room who have lived through the bus system. Not always happily, but they've lived through it, and they're glad that they're here, and they will tell you what it's like. I told them at the beginning of the evening, be honest and positive in that order. So they're going to tell you what's what, but they wouldn't be here volunteering if they didn't feel good about their experience. If you see that a room is full, if we're already at 20 people in the room because we have overflow in the library and in lots of the classrooms, so there's quite a few people here tonight, please just go to one of the other classrooms for a few minutes when you see an open door. Ask some questions there and then wander back towards one of the other rooms. In a normal year, we'd have food and water and drink, and we would wine you, and well, we wouldn't wine you. We would dine you. We would encourage you with all things, but in an era of COVID, that seemed almost certainly to violate every conceivable rule that there is, so we're not doing that. So as you're in the main hall, imagine food. Folks, we are delighted that you're here. We're glad to answer your questions. I've been teaching here. This is my 24th year at Freeman. I have the best job in the county. I get to work with remarkable peers who are everyday impressive teachers. As or more important, I get to work with students who love to learn. Questions are always new for them, and they tend to be remarkably excited day after day, even when their schoolwork gets hard and they're taking courses that are too much. To have the opportunity to teach students who want to learn as much as these people do is a gift. I think that's the best thing that the center has to offer. I love Freeman. I love this place. I love being a part of it. I hope that I have the opportunity to get to know you over the course of the next several years. Don't worry that I'm at the end of my career, because I'm not. I have years ahead. Youthful. Folks, we're glad you're here. Talk to the students. Have a good time. Good night. As you leave the room, for what it's worth, the 100 teens are to your right, the 130s are to your left. The center is the 132 to 135 time frame, or room numbers, okay? Thanks everybody, have a great evening tonight.